So you got married, you built a home, a life, and a family, but life happens, divorce, death, and then a second chance at love. You've built a new life with your blended family, a beautiful and complex mix of new relationships and old histories. But what if I told you that a simple legal mistake, a forgotten piece of paper, could unravel everything after you're gone? What if the very people you want to protect, your own children, could be legally and accidentally disinherited? It happens a lot more often than you'd think. And it's not because of bad intentions, it's because of a few critical, common, and completely avoidable errors in estate planning. Imagine this: you pass away believing you've left your home and savings to be shared between your new spouse and your kids from your first marriage. You've talked about it, you've made promises, and you trust your spouse to do the right thing. But the law doesn't run on promises, it runs on documents. And if your documents are wrong, your children could get nothing. This isn't a scare tactic, it's a legal reality for thousands of blended families every year. We're going to break down the five biggest mistakes we see in Florida blended families, mistakes that can legally disinherit your own children, and show you how to fix them before it's too late. And I want to flag up front that Florida is stricter than most states here. Two Florida rules in particular can override even a carefully drafted plan, and we'll get to both. The single most catastrophic mistake in blended family estate planning is doing nothing at all. Life moves fast, you get divorced, you remarry, a child is born, and updating legal documents is the last thing on your mind. But here's the problem: the law operates on what's written down, not what you intended. That old will from your first marriage doesn't just vanish when you remarry. And in Florida, the rule is more specific and more surprising than most people expect. Getting married does not revoke your existing will. That old will stays valid. But Florida's pretermitted spouse statute steps in. If you marry after signing your will and your new spouse survives you, that spouse is entitled to the same share they would have received if you had died with no will at all, regardless of what your will actually says. There are only three ways out of that: a prenuptial or postnuptial agreement that provides for or waives it, a will that already provides for the spouse, or a will that expressly states you don't intend to provide for the spouse. So your old will doesn't get thrown out, it gets a hole punched straight through it. If you die without a valid will, that's called dying intestate, and the state decides who gets your assets. In Florida, that math is fixed, and it is not built for blended families. If every one of your descendants is also your surviving spouse's descendant, and your spouse has no other children, your spouse takes the entire intestate estate. But in a blended family where you have children your spouse didn't have, or your spouse has children you didn't have, your spouse takes half and your descendants split the other half. That's the default, whether or not it makes any sense for your family. And what about your stepchildren, who you may have raised as your own? In Florida, stepchildren have no automatic inheritance rights unless they are legally adopted or you specifically name them in your will or trust. The law doesn't recognize emotional bonds, it only recognizes biological or legally adopted relationships. So if you haven't updated your will, you haven't just made a small oversight, you've potentially disinherited the very people you love. Assuming the law will just be fair is a dangerous gamble for a blended family. This next mistake is so common and so devastating because it can make your will completely irrelevant for some of your most valuable assets. You might have a perfectly drafted will that explicitly states your kids from a previous marriage get a certain percentage of your assets, but that can be totally overridden by a tiny line item on a form you filled out years ago: the beneficiary designation. Assets like 401(k)s, IRAs, and life insurance policies are non probate assets. This means they pass directly to the person named as the beneficiary, no matter what your will says. Now, Florida law does provide a safety net here, and it's important to understand both what it does and exactly where it stops. Under Florida statute 732.703, if you named your ex spouse as a beneficiary before your divorce and never updated the form, that designation is void as of the date the marriage was dissolved. The asset passes as if your ex had died before you did. This applies to anyone dying on or after July 1st, 2012, no matter when the form was signed. Florida does the same thing for provisions in a will, and since 2021 for revocable trusts as well. So the life insurance policy you forgot about, probably fine. Here's where it isn't fine. The statute does not apply to assets governed by federal law. That means your 401k and other employer sponsored retirement plans fall outside this protection entirely. It also doesn't apply if the designation is irrevocable, if your divorce judgment required you to maintain that asset for your ex or for the children of that marriage, or if the account is governed by another state's law. So the forgotten life insurance form usually corrects itself. The 401k is the one that will actually cost your children. The same danger exists if you name your new spouse as the sole beneficiary on a large retirement account, assuming they'll provide for your kids. Once they inherit that asset, it is legally theirs. While there are rules about how they can access the money, they can generally name their own children as the new beneficiaries, effectively cutting your children out entirely. This is a textbook example of sideways disinheritance, where your assets go to your spouse and then sideways to their family, completely bypassing your own bloodline. It happens not out of spite, but because your spouse has no legal obligation to follow your wishes. This is perhaps the most emotionally charged mistake because it's born from love and trust. In a first marriage, it's common to leave everything to the surviving spouse. The assumption is that you both have the same goal, providing for your shared children. In a blended family, that simple approach can backfire spectacularly. When you leave all your assets directly to your new spouse, you are giving them 100% legal ownership and control. As we just discussed, there is no legal requirement for them to pass any of those assets on to your children from a previous marriage. They might have the best intentions in the world. They might have promised you they would take care of your kids, but life is unpredictable. What happens if your surviving spouse remarries? Their new partner could gain inheritance rights to the very assets you intended for your children. What if they have their own children and over time, their priorities naturally shift? What if they face a financial crisis, a lawsuit, or a medical emergency and have to spend down the inheritance? Your children would have no legal recourse. Verbal promises are unenforceable in court. Relying on your spouse's goodwill is not an estate plan, it's a gamble with your children's future. This is where many blended families unintentionally fail. They prioritize the immediate comfort of the surviving spouse without creating a legal structure to also protect the children's inheritance down the line, creating a situation ripe for conflict between the step parent and stepchildren. Clarity is everything in legal documents. Unfortunately, when it comes to blended families, even seemingly clear language can create a legal void. A common mistake is using broad terms like my children or my descendants in a will or trust. You might think this lovingly includes everyone, your biological kids and your stepkids. The law, however, is far more literal. In Florida, as in most states, the term children refers only to your biological and legally adopted children. Unless you have legally adopted your stepchildren, a phrase like, I leave my estate to be divided equally among my children, legally excludes them. This can be a heartbreaking outcome, especially if you've raised them as your own and they feel like an integral part of your family. This problem gets even more complex with trusts. If a trust is set up for the benefit of my children, a trustee may be legally bound to distribute funds only to your biological heirs. To avoid this, you have to be painstakingly specific. Name each child, biological and stepchild, by their full legal name. The same goes for grandchildren. If your will leaves assets to your grandchildren, does that include the children of your stepchildren? Without explicit language, the answer is probably no. The only way to guarantee your wishes are followed is to leave zero room for interpretation. Ambiguous language is an invitation for a lawsuit, and in a blended family, that's a risk you can't afford to take. So, how do you provide for your new spouse while guaranteeing your children from a prior marriage receive their inheritance? One of the most effective tools for this is not a simple will, but a trust. Failing to consider one is the final critical mistake that leaves many blended family plans vulnerable. A trust is a legal entity that holds assets for the benefit of your chosen beneficiaries. Unlike a will, which gives assets away outright, a trust lets you control how and when those assets are distributed long after you're gone. For blended families, this is a huge advantage. A powerful strategy is a type of marital trust, sometimes called a QTIP trust. Here's how it works. When you pass away, your assets are placed into the trust. The trust is instructed to provide for your surviving spouse for the rest of their life. They can receive income from the trust's investments, and if you allow it, can use the principal for things like health and housing. They are protected and can maintain their lifestyle. But here's the crucial part: your spouse is the lifetime beneficiary, not the owner. They cannot change who gets the assets in the end. The trust document names your children as the final beneficiaries. When your surviving spouse passes away, the remaining assets in the trust are distributed to your children. This structure solves the promise problem. It replaces "I trust them to do the right thing" with a binding legal instruction, and it protects the assets from a future remarriage or from being spent down. But here is the part most blended family plans in Florida miss, and it's the reason I said Florida is stricter than most states. A trust by itself is not enough here. Two Florida rules can override even a well drafted trust. The first is the elective share. Florida gives a surviving spouse the right to claim 30% of what the law calls your elective estate, and that calculation reaches well past probate, pulling in your revocable trust, your beneficiary designations, joint accounts, and more. Your spouse can make that claim no matter what your trust says. The only clean way to take it off the table is a written waiver signed in front of two witnesses, usually inside a prenuptial or postnuptial agreement. The second is Florida homestead. Under the Florida Constitution, you generally cannot leave your homestead to anyone other than your spouse. But if you are survived by a minor child, you cannot devise it to anyone, not even your spouse. And in the classic blended family situation where you're survived by a spouse and at least one child, even if it is a child from your marriage, your spouse takes a life estate in the home and your children take the remainder. No will or trust language changes the result. Your spouse lives there for life. Your children inherit a house they can't sell or live in until then. Two people who may barely know each other are now financially tied to the same property. In lieu of the life estate, the surviving spouse has 6 months from the date of death to elect to take a 50% tenant in common interest in the property. While this lets either the spouse or the children bring a partition action, it doesn't solve the underlying problem. People who barely know one another are still left owning property together. So the real answer isn't use a trust. It's a trust plus a spousal waiver plus a homestead plan that everyone has actually agreed to in advance. While no plan is completely immune to challenge, that combination is what replaces hopeful promises with legal certainty. Before we wrap up, the information in this video is for educational purposes and is not legal advice. Florida's spousal and homestead rules are highly fact specific, and how they apply depends entirely on your own family and financial situation. Navigating this is complicated, and every family situation is unique. That's why talking with a professional is so important. If this has raised questions about your own plan, seek out a Florida estate planning attorney experienced with blended families. Don't wait. Don't assume you're covered. A single meeting can be the difference between peace of mind and family conflict down the road. If you've found this information valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content that helps you protect your family and your future. You've done the hard work of building a new blended family. You've navigated complex relationships and created a life filled with love. Don't let it all be undermined by a few avoidable legal mistakes. The key takeaways are simple. First, update your documents after every major life change. Second, check every single beneficiary designation on your accounts, especially the employer retirement plans Florida's revocation on divorce statute doesn't reach. Third, don't just leave everything to your spouse without a structure to protect your children. Be specific in your language, and finally, use the right tools: a trust, a written spousal waiver, and a deliberate plan for your homestead to make your intentions legally binding under Florida law. Taking these steps isn't about a lack of trust. It's about providing clarity and security for everyone you love. It is the final, most important act of protecting your entire family.